Farmers in rural areas often serve on local boards, such as co-op or a bank, receiving income for serving as a director, which raises the question of whether fees received are subject to self-employment tax. Roger McEowen with the Washburn University School of Law joins us now for today's Rural Money segment. Thank you, Counselor. Good morning. Let's start with some background on the basics of self-employment tax.
Oh, hi, John. Good to be with you today. Basics on self-employment tax are essentially that if you're self-employed, that means you have net earnings from self-employment, and that means you have gross income that you derive from a trade or business that you're conducting. But that doesn't include performance of services by an individual as an employee. So if you're an employee, you have wages, you don't owe the self-employment tax. If you're self-employed, you do.
So how does a director go about determining if fees received are subject to self-employment tax then?
Well, the basic IRS position, and they start with this presumption, is that you're not a corporate employee, and they have a specific regulation on that. Generally, an officer of a corporation is an employee of that corporation, but a director is not. If you're not performing any services or you're performing only minor services and you're not receiving or entitled to receive either directly or indirectly any remuneration, you're not considered to be an employee of the corporation. So if you're just a director, in your capacity as a director by itself, you're not an employee of the corporation. That means you probably have self-employment tax to pay on any payment that you receive for serving as a director.
Okay, Roger, do you have an example to kind of clarify this for folks who may want to know more?
Yeah, one of the common cases out there was decided by the tax court not too long ago, and this is where you had an individual that served on a local bank board, and the bank operated independently, represented members of the community like you see in rural areas, and they owned the bank, and the bank supervised bank management, but it didn't participate in daily bank operations. The board did, that is. And the bank provided liability coverage, life and disability, but not health insurance. And the tax court looked at this. They created a 7-factor test, and they said, look, all you're given are meeting rooms and office supplies and other items necessary to fulfill your duties. You're paid for attending board meetings. You don't have any additional opportunity for profit or loss. You had been in your position for 10 consecutive 3-year terms. It was very difficult to remove a director, and that was unlike employees of the bank. And the court said, you're an independent contractor. You owe self-employment tax.
Okay. So what's the big takeaway for anyone in our audience here today with all of this?
Well, I think a big takeaway is that it's not uncommon for people in rural areas, farmers, ranchers, and others to serve on various corporate boards and get paid for it. And you have to properly report that income. And this is an important thing for a lot of farmers and ranchers. They are known well in their community. They're respected. And so these businesses reach out to them and ask them to serve on co-op boards, bank boards, credit union boards, those types of things. And that's an honor for many farmers, but get the tax right on it. Most often, if they're paid, it's probably going to be subject to self-employment tax.
Okay, Roger, thank you very much for joining us. Roger McEowen with the Washburn University School of Law joining us here on the Market Day Report.